Okay, so our task for today, for this video is to evaluate functions or equations. Okay, so we have two given equations or two given function. One is f of x, that's f of x, and this is g of x. So it's important that you understand which function you're trying to evaluate. On the examples here below, the functions, the ones that you need to evaluate are f of 3, f of 1, f of 0, f of negative 2. So that means since this is the f function, therefore we will use the f function equation, okay? And also the one inside the parentheses, these are basically that replaces the x. In other words, we will replace the x in on the left side, on the right side of your equation. So for instance, on f of 3, okay? So this, by the way, right here is 3 times 4, okay? To the power of x minus 1. Now, the common mistake for this is, so normally it's gonna be written like this, okay? And the common mistake is this, f of x, see that 3 and 4, they multiply it right away, x minus 1. When you do that, that's going to be wrong, okay? Because remember, PEMDAS, you do the exponent first, right? So you don't actually get to multiply until you simplify the exponent. Okay, so let's try number 1 so we can get on with our examples. Okay, so for number 1, so you have f of 3, so that means 3 times 4, and the x will be replaced with 3 because that's your x now, 3 minus 1, okay? Next, you do not get to multiply 3 and 4. It's just going to be 3 times 4 to the power of 2, okay? Simplify the exponent first, and then 4 squared, you don't again multiply 3 and 4, you square this one first, 3 times 16, and finally you multiply that, okay? Alternatively, you can just put this one in your calculator too, and it should give you 48, okay? All right, number 1, and the second number, same thing, 3 times 4 to the power of 1 minus 1, okay? So I'm replacing the x. I should probably change it with a different color, this one right here. That's your new x, okay? Multiply 3 and 4, you evaluate 4 to the power of 0 first. That's going to be equal to 1, so therefore all of these is just 3 times 1 or equal to 3, okay? I'm going to try number 3. um uh f of 0, so 3 times 4 to the power of 0, 0 minus 1, okay? Again, not multiplying. So that's going to look like 3 times 4 to the power of negative 1. 4 to the negative 1 is 1/4, so therefore this is 3 times 1/4, or just going to be equal to 3/4, okay? So again, it's important to just make sure that to not do the common mistake of multiplying 3 and 4, right? Why don't you try f of negative 2, okay? And then I'm gonna try another function here. You can leave this one here in the comments. I would appreciate if you would try to answer that. Okay, all right. So now let's try. I need some space here. Let's try to do another one. Okay. All right. So this is my next question. What if we want to find? What if we want to find um, f of um, f of negative 1, okay, and then g of negative 1, all right? Okay, so what's the difference, okay? Well, for the first one, we are going to use the f function. So this is going to be 3 times 4 to the power of, instead of x, you will write negative 1 minus 1, okay? So 3 times 4 to the power of negative 2, or 3 times 1 over 4 squared. So this is going to be 1 over 6, I mean 3 over 16. Better yet, you can just put this one in a calculator too, and it should evaluate for you. Okay. Now next one is g to the power g of negative 1. Since this is a g and this is not an f, so therefore you will use a g function. So that would be 4. Now this is written a little bit differently because this one has a dot. That means 3 times this. This is 4 times the parentheses of. They actually mean the same. Okay, they're the same thing because remember when you do 3 times 4, that's exactly the same as 3 dot 4. They're both multiplication. So do not be fooled. They're the same thing. Okay, so 2 to the power of, we will replace your exponent x with negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 minus 4. Okay, all of that in parentheses. You can put all of that in a calculator, or you can also just simplify this manually. 4 to the power of 2. Well, 3 times negative 1 is negative 7. Negative 3 minus 4, that's going to be negative 7. Okay, so this is quite a big number. I don't even know if you can do this. Okay, so this is going to be 4 times negative 7 is 1 over 2 to the power of negative 7. And I think if I'm not wrong, I think that's 2 to the power of 7 is 1 over 128. So that's going to be 4 over 128. And you can simplify this one some more by dividing it by 4. So this is going to be 1 over 32, I think. Okay. Now, of course, the easier way would be just putting this in your calculator and letting it um, be simplified. But if you want to do the challenge, you can also simplify it manually because that's also a great practice for you. Okay, so this is all for evaluating functions, and actually, this is not just this is a special kind of functions. These are exponential functions, and try to answer number 4 in the comments below.